Ever find yourself tossing that, that empty doggy bag and wondering if it just vanishes? Or the yeast bite down and create a lipstick and a tiny voice in your head whispers, "What's really in this stuff?"
Welcome to the deep dive. This is your shortcut to understanding the world a little better. We try to take the complex and clear, hopefully with a dash of surprise along the way. Today, we're plunging into a really fascinating mix of information. We've even got insights from the May 10th, 2025 edition of the news aggregator podcast, Consumers.App, our mission. Simple, really. To extract the key knowledge and those aha moments about what's shaping our choices, our health, our environment, all for you.
Yeah, it's interesting to start with something so, fundamental, like our grocery spending. There's this headline from Cleveland.com asking how to recession-proof your grocery budget. Do's and don'ts. That's a big one right now. And Consumers Research Guidance consistently highlights a core set of strategies.
Okay, so we're talking about getting savvy in the aisles, meal planning, like actually deciding what to eat before you're surrounded by all those tempting displays.
Exactly.
Buying in bulk, but only if you'll actually use it, right, before it goes bad.
Okay.
Avoiding that bulk buy guilt.
That's a crucial point.
And embracing store brands. The packaging might be simpler, sure, but often the quality is, surprisingly comparable.
Precisely. And beyond these basics, you've got discount retailers playing a huge role in stretching budgets. Comparing prices takes a few extra minutes, maybe, but it really can add up.
Mm-hmm.
Loyalty programs, too, those little perks, they translate into real savings over time. And just the discipline of sticking to a shopping list.
The list. So simple, but it combats those impulse buys that just wreck the budget.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And tracking your spending, just knowing where your money is actually going. That's the first step to controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, actively looking for coupons and rebates. What strikes you as maybe the most critical part of getting a grip on grocery costs now? I think just that awareness piece you mentioned is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Being mindful of what you're buying, what you already have at home. Now, this is where it gets interesting, though. It's not just about the old school stuff anymore, is it? Supermarket tech is playing a bigger role, especially with inflation.
Oh, definitely. And what's fascinating is how these digital tools are evolving. Think about those advanced recommendation systems popping up as you fill your virtual cart. They highlight deals, suggest alternatives maybe you hadn't thought of.
Right. But aren't they also designed to get us to buy more?
Well, yes, that's the store's goal, increasing basket size. But a savvy shopper can actually use them to discover better prices, find promotions they might have missed, and you get real-time pricing, promotional updates, often driven by scanner data. It puts more info right in your hands while you shop. How do you feel this constant stream of digital info affects your choices? Is it empowering or just overwhelming?
That's a great question. It feels like a bit of a tightrope walk. Yeah. Having deals flagged. Super helpful. But those recommendations can also be a bit of a siren song for the wallet. Speaking of info, I saw this Scale Score label. Combines nutritional and environmental info for online shoppers. What jumps out at you about that approach?
Well, connecting it to this whole move towards conscious consumption, the Scale Score feels like a pretty significant step. It tries to integrate both nutrition and environmental impact into one label, making a complex decision feel, simpler.
Okay.
Research suggests it can nudge us towards healthier stuff, but the effectiveness of the sustainability part really hinges on how clearly those environmental factors like carbon footprint or water usage are communicated. It kind of raises the question, what environmental details are actually meaningful and, understandable for everyday shopping?
Definitely. And moving beyond just labels, it looks like the ingredients themselves are changing. Sesame protein isolate combined with gum tragacanth sounds like science fiction. But apparently it's healthy and sustainable. What possibilities could innovations like this open up?
This really points to the exciting stuff happening where food science meets our need for sustainable food. Developing plant-based ingredients with the right texture, the right nutrition, it opens up a whole world. Things like sesame protein and gum tragacanth, with their stability and benefits, could pop up in everything from meat alternatives to, new kinds of snacks. For your diet, it could just mean more diverse, more eco-friendly protein options becoming common.
So even when we're watching our pennies, it sounds like healthy eating is still doable. The advice is focused on whole grains, seasonal produce, lean proteins. And the common thread seems to be cutting back on processed foods. It's almost like going back to basics, isn't it?
It is, in many ways. Nutritional science keeps reinforcing the benefits of nutrient-dense, minimally processed foods. By focusing on those core groups and planning meals around them, families can get essential nutrients without breaking the bank. It's really about prioritizing whole, affordable ingredients over the often higher cost and, frankly, lower nutritional value of super processed stuff.
And to help us navigate all this, there's more personalized grocery tech. Basket recommendations based on data. Sounds like it could actually help with budgeting and healthier choices.
Exactly. By looking at your past buys, your dietary needs, even your budget goals, these systems can suggest things that fit. They might highlight cheaper, healthier alternatives you wouldn't have noticed. It could make shopping faster, help you find new options in your price range, and cut down on wasted spending.
Okay, last grocery thing, that this research, using spanner data to track inflation and spending, that must give a really detailed picture of price shifts and how we're all reacting.
Oh, it provides invaluable insights. Scanner data, capturing every single transaction, gives a much more granular, more accurate view of price changes and consumer adjustments than older methods. This allows for precise inflation monitoring. It gives retailers, policymakers crucial info on how economic pressures hit everyday goods. It could even inform strategies to cushion the blow for us, the consumers.
Wow, okay. Our grocery cart is definitely full of knowledge now. Let's pivot to the cosmetics counter. Lipsticks and ingredient safety, sparked by that Z News headline. Top lipsticks reviewed. Features, benefits, and buying guide. Turns out the history of what goes into lip color is quite a journey.
It really is fascinating. You go from natural stuff, minerals, plant extracts, beeswax used way back when, to the synthetic ingredients that came along for better consistency, color, cost effectiveness. Makes you wonder what Cleopatra would make of our modern ingredient lists. But the shift to synthetics also meant we needed to better understand and regulate their health impact.
Right. And to help us decode those sometimes crazy long ingredient lists, there's the INCI International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients. Sounds super official. What does it actually do for us choosing a lipstick? And for the companies?
INCI basically provides a standard global language for cosmetic ingredients. For you, the consumer, it means you can accurately identify what's in your lipstick, no matter the brand or where it's made. That transparency is vital for making informed choices, especially with allergies or if you want to avoid specific things.
Okay.
For manufacturers, INCI ensures clear, consistent labeling. That's essential for meeting regulations and selling internationally. It just creates a common understanding.
Now, the tricky part. We can't talk lipstick ingredients without talking health concerns. Studies have flagged some common synthetics, parabens, phthalates, certain colorants from coal tar suggesting links to hormone disruption, maybe even carcinogenic effects. That's concerning.
It is a significant area of ongoing research and, yes, concern. The potential for hormone disruption, the possible links to cancer. It's led to more scrutiny from regulators and a growing demand from consumers for safer, more natural options. It just highlights how critical continuous research and careful ingredient selection are in cosmetics.
It's somewhat reassuring that tech is being used to assess safety better. I read about knowledge graphs modeling complex interactions, predicting safety, even cultural appropriateness. That sounds like cutting-edge stuff for a lipstick.
It truly is. Knowledge graphs let researchers map huge amounts of data, identify potential risks or benefits in a much more comprehensive way than before. By modeling these complex relationships, machine learning can then predict safety, even cultural suitability, like whether an ingredient is halal. It's an innovative approach that promises more robust, more nuanced safety checks for cosmetics down the line.
Definitely a big leap from, lead-based lipsticks back in the day, thank goodness. It's sobering thinking about those historical dangers. How have modern regulations actually stepped in to protect us?
Yeah, the history has some scary examples. Modern regulations are a huge step forward for consumer safety. Agencies now mandate rigorous safety testing before products hit the shelves. There are strict labeling rules requiring full ingredient disclosure. And many hazardous substances used in the past are now completely banned. The whole framework aims to prevent history repeating itself and ensure today's cosmetics meet safety standards.
It's good to know. But there's still so much buzz around organic versus synthetic. What are some common myths about lipstick safety? What does the actual science say?
That organic versus synthetic debate often gets oversimplified. The idea that all organic is safe and all synthetic is harmful, not really backed by science. Both natural and synthetic ingredients can potentially cause allergic reactions or other issues.
Okay.
However, current research does suggest certain synthetics, particularly some preservatives and colorants, have stronger links to potential long-term health concerns. It really underscores the need to look beyond just the organic label and focus on the specific ingredients and the available safety data.
So practical takeaway for us. How can we actually use those often impossible to read ingredient lists, those INCI names, to make safer choices when buying lipstick?
The key is to get familiar with the INCI names of ingredients that raise concerns, like parabens and phthalates, and actively try to pick products without them. Look for clear, full ingredient lists, and don't hesitate to check reputable sources, regulatory agency websites, independent consumer safety groups for info on specific ingredients. Really, educating yourself about what you're putting on your body is the most effective way to make safer choices.
That's really helpful, actionable advice. Okay, let's shift gears to something hitting our wallets. Tariffs. The Washington Post warned summer could be about to get a lot more expensive thanks to tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us not deep into economics, can you break down what tariffs are and how they end up making us pay more here in the U.S.?
Let's break it down simply. Tariffs are basically taxes a government puts on goods imported from other countries. The stated goal might be protecting local industries or raising money, but the immediate effect, it makes those imported goods more expensive for the companies bringing them in.
Right.
And as the article points out, those increased costs usually get passed straight on to us, the consumers, as higher prices. So yeah, that new swimsuit, that barbecue grill for summer could very well cost more because of these tariffs.
So these recent tariffs on stuff from China, the article mentioned summer, things like swimsuits, flip-flops, sunglasses, even grills. Are we actually seeing those prices climb?
The evidence strongly suggests we are, yeah. China makes a lot of those kinds of items. When tariffs hit, it disrupts the whole supply chain. Importers face a choice: eat the cost, which hits their profits, or, more likely, pass it to consumers. So yes, the likelihood is you'll see prices go up on many summer essentials because of this.
It's not just the immediate price bump, though, is it? I saw this term, network effects of tariffs. It sounds more complicated than just paying extra for beach gear.
It is definitely more complex. Recent academic research, I think from a 2025 paper, shows tariffs have broader, often less obvious impacts than just higher prices. They can actually reshape global trade routes, shifting trade to countries not hit by the tariff. They can also expose domestic firms to more competition in foreign markets if other countries retaliate with their own tariffs. Ultimately, this can reduce overall consumer welfare even beyond the direct price hikes we see.
And these tariffs are also giving retailers headaches, managing stock, right? Supply chain disruptions seem like a big knock-on effect.
Exactly. Tariffs throw a big wrench into forecasting supply and demand. Research from 2024 using advanced graph neural network models showed retailers struggling with inventory, leading to either too much stock or not enough. Old planning methods just aren't great at handling these rapid shifts. Retailers are leaning more on sophisticated prediction tools, but it can still mean more shortages or surpluses for us, affecting availability and price.
The article also mentioned how China's retaliatory tariffs hit U.S. soybean farmers specifically. That feels like a ripple effect we might not immediately connect to our shopping.
It's a perfect example of how interconnected the global economy is. A 2025 study looking at that impact found significant drops in soybean prices, export volumes, and farmer incomes. While the government stepped in with support, it shows how trade disputes with tariffs can have really far-reaching economic effects, hitting entire industries and livelihoods, not just the products we buy directly.
So we hear different takes on tariffs as policy. What are the main arguments for them, and what are the main counter-arguments economists usually make?
Well, proponents often argue tariffs protect domestic industries from what they see as unfair foreign competition, potentially saving local jobs. They can also be seen as a way to generate government revenue or address specific trade issues like dumping. But the prevailing view among most economists is that tariffs generally have negative long-term consequences. They tend to raise prices for consumers, increase costs for domestic companies using imported parts, and often provoke retaliation, ultimately hurting overall economic growth and efficiency.
Sounds like navigating this tariff situation is a real challenge for businesses. Are there any tech advancements helping them cope with the uncertainty?
Yes, actually. Those advancements in supply chain prediction, especially using those graph-based neural network models you mentioned, they're proving valuable. By analyzing historical data and forecasting demand and potential disruptions, these models help retailers anticipate and adapt better to tariff-induced uncertainty. A 2024 study showed significant prediction accuracy improvements for a global company using these methods. So there are practical tools emerging to manage the volatility.
That's a fascinating dive into the wide reach of tariffs. Okay, let's switch to something that sounds almost mythical. Vitamin P. The Times of India had a headline, "What is vitamin P and 5 ways to get it daily?" I've literally never heard of vitamin P. Is it a real vitamin?
That's a common point of confusion. While people sometimes call it vitamin P, the more accurate term is flavonoids or sometimes bioflavonoids. They're a huge group of natural plant compounds found in tons of fruits, veggies, tea, even cocoa. And while they aren't technically essential vitamins like C or D, they're super important in plant-based diets because of their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. They contribute to heart and metabolic health.
Okay, flavonoids. Got it. So what are some easy everyday sources? How do we get more of them?
Think vibrant colors in your produce aisle. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, fantastic sources. Apples, citrus fruits like oranges and lemons, onions, leafy greens like kale. Green tea is another great one. And if you like it, dark chocolate and cocoa have significant amounts too. Really, eating a variety of these plant foods throughout the day is the best way to get a good mix of different flavonoids.
It sounds like actually getting these compounds out of the plants is a science itself. The article mentioned extraction methods mattering, and this new sequential microwave ultrasound technique for getting quercetin from red onion skin waste. That sounds incredibly specific.
It certainly is, and it shows the innovation happening. Old extraction methods can be slow, not always efficient. This newer technique seems to significantly boost the yield and purity of valuable flavonoids, like quercetin, from stuff that might otherwise be waste, like onion skins. It not only recovers more of the good stuff, but it's also a more sustainable approach for the food industry.
And these flavonoids seem to have some serious health benefits. I saw a mention of potential cholesterol-lowering effects, specifically from Aurea helianthus flowers.
Yes, recent research has looked into the hypolipidemic that's cholesterol-lowering effects. Studies on purified flavonoids from those Aurea helianthus flowers suggest they have a noticeable ability to bind bile acids in our digestive system.
How does that help?
Well, binding bile acids is a key way the body lowers cholesterol levels. The research even found that the purer the flavonoid extract, the better it bound bile acids. So it points to a potential role for these plant compounds in managing cholesterol.
So if they're so beneficial, what are the potential downsides or challenges with developing and consuming flavonoid products?
Well, the pros' natural origin health benefits are compelling, but there are challenges. Flavonoid levels in plants can vary a lot based on growing conditions, processing, so consistency in the final product can be tricky.
Oh, okay.
There's also potential for interaction with certain medications. And we still need more standardized guidelines on the best extraction methods and effective doses for flavonoid products. But compared to some synthetic options, plant sources usually offer better bioavailability and a fewer reported side effects.
It sounds like people are definitely catching on, though. The article mentioned 2024 market trends showing more demand for plant-based flavonoid products driven by interest in natural health and veganism.
That's right. The market for flavonoid products, supplements, functional foods, drinks has grown significantly. It's fueled by that consumer desire for natural health approaches, plus the rise of vegan and plant-focused diets. People increasingly want products with transparent sourcing, claims backed by evidence, and sustainable production. That all boosts demand for flavonoid-rich options.
Are there any common misunderstandings or myths about these plant-based flavonoids we should clear up?
Yeah, a key one is thinking all flavonoids are equally effective. Their biological activity varies a lot depending on the specific type, the source, how it's processed and consumed. Another myth is that taking massive doses of isolated flavonoid supplements is always better. Current science really supports getting a moderate, diverse intake from whole foods as part of a plant-rich diet, rather than relying heavily on high-dose pills.
Good reminder, balance and the whole food approach seem key. Okay, now let's talk sleep. We all need it. Rolling Out had the headline, How Your Sleep Patterns Shape Your Weight. Sounds like those late nights might do more than just make us tired.
Absolutely. More and more research shows this intricate link between our circadian rhythms, our internal body clock, and basic things like appetite, metabolism, and, weight regulation. Studies show the daily ups and downs of our gut hormones, the ones controlling hunger and fullness, are tightly linked to our sleep-wake cycle.
Okay.
When our natural sleep rhythm gets disrupted or misaligned with when we eat, it can increase the risk of weight gain and obesity. This seems particularly true for people who tend to be night owls.
So not enough sleep isn't just making us groggy, it's actually messing with hunger signals.
Yeah.
Increased ghrelin, reduced leptin, those are the hormones.
Exactly. Poor sleep quality or just not enough hours throws off the balance of those crucial hormones. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone telling your brain to eat, tends to go up when you're sleep deprived. Leptin, the satiety hormone telling you you're full, goes down.
Oh.
That hormonal shift leads to more cravings, often for high-calorie foods, and it can also mess with how our body handles blood sugar, further increasing the risk of unhealthy weight gain.
I saw a really interesting finding from a 2025 trial about the Mind diet. It seemed to improve sleep quality in overweight women with insomnia. It sounds like what we eat directly influences sleep, which then affects weight.
That's a perfect example of how connected it all is. The Mind diet, lots of plant-based foods, berries, nuts, was shown in that trial to significantly improve sleep quality for those women. They also saw positive changes in BDNF, that's a brain protein supporting nerve cell health. It suggests a direct pathway. Diet influencing sleep and metabolic health.
It's interesting because we often hear about diet sodas for cutting calories, but a 2024 study on diet soda and weight gain had some nuanced findings, especially for people with generally less healthy eating habits.
Yes, that study was revealing. For a good chunk of participants, especially those with already poorer diets, drinking diet sodas like Diet Coke was actually linked to a higher chance of weight gain over time. Yeah. But the study also found that for people with healthier overall diets, like young women, the link was minimal. It highlights how even seemingly calorie-free choices can be influenced by our broader lifestyle, maybe hormonal factors. It challenges the simple idea that all diet drinks help with weight management.
And our natural sleep timing, our chronotype, whether we're a morning lark or a night owl, apparently, that also plays a role in obesity risk. Personalized nutrition and sleep strategies tailored to our chronotype. That sounds very customized.
It is. Our chronotype affects the timing and intensity of those hunger hormone swings. Night owls are often at higher risk for obesity because they tend to get cravings later in the evening and might have hormonal profiles making them more prone to weight gain. So personalized plans that align meal times and sleep schedules with your natural chronotype could be a really promising way to reduce obesity risk and boost long-term health.
So for people with existing metabolic issues, are there specific diets that help both sleep and weight? The Mind and Mediterranean diets keep popping up.
Diets like Mind and Mediterranean, known for high fiber, antioxidants, healthy fats, they've shown real promise for both sleep and metabolic health. These eating patterns help regulate blood sugar, reduce inflammation, both of which contribute to better sleep, and make it easier to maintain a healthy weight, especially for folks with conditions like diabetes or obesity.
It all seems to come back to syncing our daily habits with our natural biological rhythms. Chrononutrition, time-restricted eating, basically eating at specific times, seem to be gaining traction for weight and metabolic health.
That's a key takeaway, definitely. Aligning when we eat with our biological rhythms, like eating more earlier in the day, limiting late-night snacks helps synchronize our metabolic hormones. This can lead to better glucose control, lower risk of obesity, and metabolic disorders. Strategies like time-restricted eating and chrononutrition, which consider meal timing relative to our circadian clock, are increasingly seen as valuable tools.
Amazing how interconnected everything is. Okay, now for something that might make some squeamish. Edible bugs. The BBC on MSN.com asks, are nutritious edible bugs a future food source? Apparently, in Great Britain, some insects are already approved.
Yes, in GB, 4 species are currently authorized as food ingredients. Yellow mealworm, house cricket, banded cricket, and black soldier fly. They're recognized for being highly nutritious, lots of protein, essential fatty acids, vitamins, minerals. Mealworms, for instance, can be up to 50% protein by dry weight, plus rich in B vitamins, iron, zinc, positions them as a potentially valuable alternative protein as we look for more sustainable food systems.
So they're not just novelty items anymore. The UK regulates them as novel foods. How does that affect safety and how available they might become?
That's right. As novel foods, they undergo rigorous pre-market safety checks before being sold legally. This process ensures only species meeting strict safety standards, including for allergens and quality, reach the market. It provides consumer confidence, but it also means availability is currently limited to those approved species, which naturally affects how quickly they're adopted more broadly.
Safety is obviously huge here. What are the potential health risks with eating bugs?
The main risk really is allergic reactions. This is especially relevant for people with existing shellfish allergies because some insect proteins are structurally similar to those in crustaceans.
Oh, okay.
As insect consumption grows in places like Europe, there have been more reported cases of insect-related food allergies. It just underscores how crucial comprehensive allergen testing and clear labeling are for any food containing insects.
How do these natural insect ingredients stack up against synthetic ingredients in processed foods, health-wise?
Generally, edible insects tend to offer a more complete, often more bioavailable nutritional profile with fewer artificial additives compared to many synthetic ingredients. There's growing evidence that diets rich in whole, minimally processed foods, which could include insects, are linked to lower chronic disease risk compared to diets high in synthetics, artificial stuff, and ultra-processed components. But, as we said, allergen potential is a key factor for both natural and synthetic ingredients.
I saw some interesting research suggesting eating insects might even benefit our gut health, influencing microbiota.
Yes, a 2024 study looked at polysaccharides, basically complex carbs from insects like white-spotted flower chafer larvae and silkworm pupa. They tested them on gut microbiota in animal models. The early findings suggested these polysaccharides might have beneficial effects, like promoting good bacteria growth. Now, it's early days, needs more human research, but it does hint at a potential positive impact on digestive health from adding edible insects to our diet.
Okay, before we all rush out for cricket powder, what are the main safety things that need addressing for bugs to become a widely accepted, safe food source?
Several critical points. Allergenicity, as we've stressed, is number one. Beyond that, potential microbial contamination, accumulation of heavy metals depending on how they're raised. These need careful consideration.
Right.
The rearing and processing methods are also crucial for safety. Regulators need clear guidelines. Producers need to show they're free of harmful pathogens, have low contaminant levels, and provide transparent allergen labeling. Safe sourcing and processing are absolutely essential for consumer trust.
So what does the scientific community think needs to happen next to make sure edible insects are safe and effective?
Well, research needs to continue investigating the specifics of insect allergies, identifying the actual allergenic proteins. More studies are needed on how processing, like heating, affects allergenicity. And comprehensive risk assessments are crucial before any new insect species get introduced. It really needs ongoing collaboration between entomologists, food scientists, allergists to fully realize the potential of insects as a safe, sustainable food source.
Definitely gives us a lot to chew on. Maybe literally someday.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift to health insurance costs. Affects us all. Fortune India asked, insurance premium conundrum. What's fueling health insurance cost? A question many of us probably ask looking at our bills.
It's a very valid, pressing question. The drivers are complex, interconnected, rising overall healthcare costs, an aging population needing more care, the increase in chronic diseases. It all pushes premiums up. In response, insurers are exploring innovations aimed at consumers, like these cumulative bonus plans.
Cumulative bonus plans.
Yeah.
They basically reward you for not claiming by boosting your coverage over time without huge premium hikes. Sounds potentially good for consumers.
In theory, yes, they can benefit both sides. For consumers, potential for more coverage over time for a relatively stable premium helps with future healthcare costs. For insurers, it incentivizes people to be maybe more careful with small claims, potentially encourages healthier habits, leading to fewer claims overall. It's a way to reward claim-free years. What are your initial thoughts on these? Seem valuable.
My first thought is always, what's the catch? Are there hidden downsides to these bonus plans we should know about?
That's wise. While they offer potential benefits, they can add complexity. Understanding the exact terms, how you qualify for the bonus each year when you might lose it, that can be tricky.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, even with a bonus, your base premium can still rise due to those bigger factors, healthcare inflation, regulation changes. Comparing these plans across insurers can also be tough because the rules vary.
It seems tech is getting more integrated into health insurance too, streamlining enrollment claims. How is this digital innovation shaping the future?
Digital innovation is fundamentally reshaping things. Tech like cloud, AI, blockchain, they're being used to streamline processes, easier enrollment, faster claims, more transparency. These tools also help insurers analyze data better for risk assessment, fraud detection, even developing more personalized products based on individual health profiles. For consumers, this could mean easier access, faster service, maybe more relevant coverage.
AI and data-heavy underwriting sound like they could lead to customized plans.
Yeah.
But are there ethical worries? Potential for discrimination?
That's a critical ethical point, yes. Research highlights the benefits of AI and big data for accurate risk assessment and tailored products. But it also raises big concerns about potential algorithmic bias, unfair discrimination.
How so?
If not implemented and regulated carefully, these techs could inadvertently lead to different premiums or coverage based on factors that shouldn't matter, like socioeconomic status or pre-existing conditions. Balancing AI's benefits with fairness, transparency, and equal access is a huge challenge for the industry.
And blockchain is being suggested for things like fraud, Lack of transparency, data privacy. We usually hear about that with crypto.
It's an interesting application. Blockchain's decentralized, tamper-proof nature could solve some long-standing issues. By creating secure, transparent, auditable records of transactions and health info, it could potentially cut down fraud significantly. It could also enhance privacy by giving individuals more control over their health data. Still early days for adoption and insurance, but it holds promise for improving efficiency and trust.
So, zooming out economically, what are the potential pros and cons of all this consumer-focused innovation in health insurance?
Economically, the potential pros are significant. Maybe improved affordability through better plan design and cost management, more consumer empowerment through transparency and choice, better alignment of products with individual needs. Innovations like bonus plans and digital platforms can make markets more efficient, reduce admin costs.
Yeah, now the cons.
Potential downsides include increased complexity, just navigating all the options. Risk of information asymmetry, where insurers have way more data and understanding than consumers, and the ongoing challenge of adequate regulation in such a rapidly changing tech landscape.
Definitely complex. Okay, let's turn to something surprisingly impactful. Dog waste environmental consequences. AZ Animals on MSN.com. One dog creates 274 pounds of waste each year, and we now know it's taking its toll on the environment. That's a lot of waste.
It is an astonishing amount, and the environmental concerns are really significant. 274 pounds of feces per dog per year, if not managed right. It introduces pathogens, excess nutrients, even drug residues into the environment.
Right.
This contaminates waterways, fuels harmful algal blooms that wreck aquatic ecosystems, and even contributes to antibiotic resistance. Interestingly, the EPA actually classifies pet waste as a non-point source pollutant, meaning it comes from diffuse sources, not a single pipe. Puts it in the same category as agricultural runoff because its impact is so widespread and cumulative. Were you aware of that classification?
No idea it was classed like that. So much more than just gross stuff in parks. What did Associate Professor Bill Bateman's study show about the local impact in cities?
Professor Bateman's research gave compelling evidence that dog waste is a significant pollutant in urban parks and natural areas. His study showed uncollected waste seriously increases nutrient load in soil and nearby water. This excess disrupts the natural balance, promotes excessive bacteria and algae growth, harming the overall health and biodiversity of these green spaces. Really highlights responsible ownership and proper disposal.
And what specific germs and health risks are linked to pet waste, according to medical literature? Sounds like more than just bad smells.
You're absolutely right. Pet waste can carry various pathogens dangerous to humans and other animals. Bacteria like E. coli, salmonella, parasites like Giardia, roundworms.
Yikes.
These can contaminate soil, water, recreational areas, leading to illnesses from gut problems and skin infections to more serious issues, especially for kids or people with weaker immune systems.
It's concerning how this might hit certain communities harder. The article mentioned environmental justice concerns.
This is a critical point. Poor pet waste management can disproportionately affect marginalized communities. These areas often have less access to well-kept public waste disposal, maybe higher concentrations of pollutants as a result. Environmental justice principles stress the need for fair access to waste resources and fair distribution of environmental burdens to protect everyone's health, regardless of socioeconomic status.
So what potential solutions are being looked at in research to improve how we collect and manage all this urban pet waste?
Recent research explores various strategies. Optimizing municipal waste collection routes for efficient removal of bagged pet waste, placing designated eco-points for pet waste in busy areas, comprehensive public education campaigns to raise owner awareness. Researchers are even using data analytics and modeling to try and boost the efficiency of collection systems in cities.
And what's the official advice for pet owners on disposing of it to minimize environmental harm?
Agencies like the EPA generally recommend pick it up immediately, put it in a biodegradable bag, dispose of it in municipal solid waste. Some places also promote composting or special pet waste digesters as greener options if managed correctly. The main message: keep it out of waterways and soil where it pollutes and spreads pathogens.
Lastly, how do these microbial source tracking studies help pinpoint pet waste's contribution to water pollution?
Microbial source tracking is a powerful tool. It lets researchers identify the specific sources of fecal contamination in water. Recent studies using these advanced techniques clearly show pet waste is a significant contributor to fecal bacteria in urban and recreational waters. This degrades water quality, can trigger health advisories against swimming, and ultimately harms aquatic life.
Truly eye-opening, the collective impact. Okay, final deep dive. Shifting health indicators for seniors, prompted by rolling out what your doctor should be tracking instead of weigh at 60. Sounds like key health metrics change as we age.
That's a really important perspective shift. While weight's been key across ages, for people 60 plus PIM or CNOM, muscle mass is increasingly seen as more critical for overall health. Sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, and function decline is a major concern affecting many older adults. Low muscle mass is strongly linked to reduced mobility, higher risk of falls, fractures, and chronic diseases. Monitoring muscle mass allows earlier detection and timely interventions, which can massively improve quality of life and independence later on.
So instead of just the number on the scale, what should seniors and doctors focus on?
While weight still gives some info, more focus should be on indicators of muscle health, strength, physical function. The WHO recommends adults get at least 2.5 hours of moderate aerobic exercise weekly. This is especially vital for older folks. Regular cardio supports heart-lung health and plays a crucial role in maintaining muscle mass, improving physical and cognitive function. Even short bursts, like just 11 minutes a day of moderate exercise, can yield significant benefits for seniors.
I saw interesting data on how sarcopenia rates vary depending on where older adults live, community, hospital, care facility.
Yes, a big 2025 meta-analysis looked at this. It found sarcopenia prevalence was notably higher among hospitalized older adults, around 35%, and those in institutional settings, like nursing homes, around 41% compared to those living independently, around 25%. These big differences show how environment and overall health status heavily influence muscle decline rates, with those in acute or long-term care at much higher risk.
What are the main things contributing to this muscle loss as we age?
Several interconnected factors. Advancing age is primary, but also female gender, low BMI, depression, diabetes, hypertension, poor nutrition, osteoarthritis, alcohol, smoking. They all play a significant role. Addressing these modifiable risks through lifestyle changes and medical management can be key to preserving muscle mass and function.
Sounds like tech can help support muscle health too. I read about video-based exercise classification and muscle activation prediction. How does that improve exercise for seniors?
This tech offers a promising way to make exercise safer, more effective for older adults. Using video analysis and smart algorithms, these systems can classify exercises, even predict which muscles are being activated.
Cool.
This gives personalized feedback, guiding seniors to exercises targeting muscles vulnerable to sarcopenia. It also helps ensure proper form, reducing injury risk, and maximizing workout benefits.
It's fascinating that even insomnia impacts muscle function in older adults. How does lack of sleep affect muscles?
Research shows insomnia can indeed have a significant negative impact. Studies indicate poor sleep quality and duration can speed up muscle protein breakdown and disrupt muscle clock genes crucial for healthy function. Chronic sleep deprivation can contribute to reduced muscle mass and strength. Highlights why prioritizing good restful sleep is important for musculoskeletal health as we age.
So what are some accessible cardio options suitable for seniors trying to maintain muscle mass? Doesn't feel super intense, right?
Absolutely not. Many accessible, effective options, simple things like regular walking, swimming, cycling are excellent. Gentle stair climbing if possible. Even fun stuff like low-impact aerobics or cardio drumming can be effective. The key is finding enjoyable activities, adaptable to fitness levels and limitations, that can be done consistently.
Well, we've certainly journeyed through a diverse range of topics today, from saving money on groceries to the surprising environmental impact of pets. One thing that really struck me is just the intricate web of factors influencing our daily lives, often in ways we don't even realize.
Indeed. What we've covered really highlights how our understanding is constantly evolving: consumer behavior, nutrition, environment, aging. Each seemingly separate area reveals fascinating complexities and connection when you...
Thank you for guiding us through these fascinating topics. It's been really enlightening. And for you, our listener, considering all this diverse info we've unpacked, what one piece of news or research do you find most what questions does it raise for you about your choices and the world right now? Definitely something to consider.